Sounds like horses galloping, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, of course, in any pregnancy, our goal is always number one, to evaluate the mom's health, number two, to evaluate the baby's health. Not that they're prioritized on top of each other by any means, but that's kind of how it works. So each visit, and we do monthly visits, or every 4 weeks, we see a patient up until the 28th week. And on those monthly visits, we do blood pressure, weight, and urine assessment. We review nutrition, exercise, childbirth preparation classes, things like that. We also measure fundal growth, which is the growth of the uterus, and assess the baby's heart rate. And there are some intervals in there where patients also get ultrasounds, which are a more complete assessment of the baby, but that typically happens at 12 weeks and at 20 weeks. And then beyond 28 weeks, we test for gestational diabetes, which is a special kind of diabetes that occurs just in women that are pregnant. And then we see patients at that point every 2 weeks. And we're still doing the same assessment of mom, assessment of baby all the way through. And then at 36 weeks, we begin checking every week. And in those last few weeks, they're the most critical as far as growth abnormalities in the baby, hypertension in the mom. If she has become a gestational diabetic, those problems become more pronounced in the last month of pregnancy. So there's lots of things that we really need to watch a lot more closely in that last month, and so that's why we see patients weekly at that point. Yeah.
So about us, we're Brooke and Brandon. We're in our 30s. We are 30. We have had 2 babies with Melissa. We lost one of them, our first one during labor, and then we had our second one. He's now just turned 2 last month. So, yeah.
So we've known her, I'd say, close to 4 years, because I think we met her, and then about a year later I got pregnant. And we have a really close relationship with her, especially because we walked through a loss with her. She just was so, I would almost say, our parents live far away. They live in Kentucky. I would almost say she was like a motherly figure. She's not old enough to be my mom, but she just felt like a motherly figure to me. Just so caring and so loving and so such an influence on us as we were walking through just a tough situation. We were diagnosed with a baby with a failed birth defect at 11 weeks, so we kind of walked through the whole pregnancy knowing we would lose the pregnancy, and she was just incredible at just reassuring us and walking through it with us, but not being too over the top. Just, it was exactly what we needed, that kind of care that I don't think a doctor would have given us.
When we found out we were pregnant, we went to the doctor 2 days before I was leaving for Iraq, and they said it's going to be a miscarriage, but we're going to check in a week to see. So we found that out 2 days later. I left for Iraq, and then a week later, they called Brooke and got another ultrasound. They said, no, actually, it's a healthy baby. So everything was great. And then 5 weeks after that, they said, oh, no, something's wrong. So Brooke, and then we found out it was a fatal birth defect. The baby wasn't going to live. Brooke's here by herself, no family, and within 8 hours, and I'm in Iraq. And Melissa really, I felt like Melissa supported her, like really helped support her through that whole thing, because she really was kind of going through it alone.
And we had great friends, but
Absolutely. But really, Melissa is just, yeah, because that was definitely hard for Brooke to go through and to be going to these appointments by herself. And Melissa just, really took care of her. And I think that's probably what really bonded us. Besides, we had connections with Melissa through friends prior to that. But I think walking through that hard time and Melissa really walking through it with Brooke, and then when I eventually got home, Brooke and I, that's what really bonded us to her.
Well, first of all, I never could do this without the support of my family because it is such a demanding job. When I was in midwifery school, I had a toddler at the time. he is now 24, and he has no memory of anything other than me doing what he calls catching babies. Sometimes when I was early in my career, my mother would come and get him and keep him for a couple of days when I was on call. And she taught him to say that I had gone to catch babies. And so I think probably in his mind he pictured them falling out of the sky or something, but he rapidly learned that they didn't fall out of the sky. So my kids have always said, "Mama's catching babies," and they have, been totally excited and supportive of that. My husband has had to endure stopping and visiting with people in Publix and the Target and restaurants and seeing babies and knowing that I have to and enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy stopping and kissing on them and loving on them a little bit because I don't usually get to see them very often after the day they're born. So those are all fond memories for all of us. And a lot of the people that I run into in town, they watch my children grow up just like I watch their children grow up, and kind of we all become family.